Hello and welcome back to awtoolbox.com. My name is Glenn Keller, and in this video what we are going to be doing is talking about the primary differences between the clients that you may interface with as you work inside of the Teamcenter environment. So this video is kind of designed for those that might be administrators or even more so in the infrastructure side, but anybody watching can take note as to the various clients. We're not going to go deep into the folder structures or anything about setting up the clients in this one. It's more of an overview of what each one is so that you can better provide awareness in your organization as to what client those individuals may need to use. So first off, for those of you that are more on the infrastructure role, Deployment Center is a term that you're going to hear, and Deployment Center is this browser-based window. So Deployment Center is basically just a deployment house. It's a place that you can register your environments and centrally take care of, manage those environments, create revisions to the environments, and then deploy those revisions. This environment allows for adding additional software. You can upgrade this environment in parallel, and you can perform most, if not all, of the Teamcenter deployment tactics that you would need to use. So if we say the word Deployment Center, it's this browser-based application. And you can see in the background, if I come in, you can see the software media in here. You'll be able to switch, if I go to options, between whether or not you have set a single box or distributed installation if you're on multiple clients. The applications view, once that loads up, will give you the list of server-side extensions that we're used to in the TIM. And then components is going to give you a list of all the features that you're installing, as well as any configuration updates such as ports, paths, passwords, and more. Deploy will allow you to generate a deployment package, and that package is not executed directly from here. The package is then copied somewhere else, and then an administrator will execute that in a command prompt. So this tool does talk to individual pieces as long as those pieces are within a connection and can register a successful deployment. You can also deploy clients that don't talk back so that you can do a mass client push. So in addition to environments in here and applications, components, the other pieces of this give you the software repositories, which essentially just shows you what media is available in the software repository you have. If you add new media, then that media will become accessible. Just make sure you reference the proper guides and information that say what you can upgrade to or what is supported with what. And then any machines that you have access to that it can read from, like my license server and my training server, are going to be listed here as well. This is the training server, so it can actually dictate how much space is available on this server. If I gave it the rights to, it could do the same on this server. So Deployment Center is only used by infrastructure and administrators to actually maintain and change the way the software is actually physically installed, patching, upgrades, that kind of thing. So that's one of the three that I'm going to talk about. The other one is going to be this Teamcenter Active Workspace client. This is going to be the primary client that users use inside of the system. Even in today's world at 2506, there are use cases for administrators to still go back and use the rich client, which is that other client in the background. But most of your users should be using Active Workspace at this point and features inside of that. If you haven't quite made it there yet, I'm sure that you're either trying to make it there or just trying to fight the resistance of moving from the rich client to Active Workspace. So this client is a browser-based client, and the benefits to moving to this client for your organization are you don't have to have individual deployments of any rich clients. So if you're doing an update and you need to add a feature to the client, it's done in one centralized behind-the-wall location on the server and then pushed to everybody all at once. New commands, new buttons, new color schemes, etc. are all managed right here within this, and then your users access it. The downfall to this client is due to some of the features, if you take advantage of them, like the search across the top or the visualization components that are inside of this server. You may have more server expenses and more servers required to support your environment. But Active Workspace is actually a fairly fast little client. It is taking a little time in this environment, and that's because I'm running a little bit slower today on just a large computer. So this means there's not as much resources and everything's still kind of spinning up. So this allows you to navigate your data, see 3D visualization data. You can run dispatcher requests using it, and pretty much all of the capability that you were bringing in from this rich client over here has been being able to be brought into the Active Workspace environment. There are several administrative functionalities that have not quite made it to the Active Workspace environment just yet, and therefore we still do need the rich client for several things, and we'll talk about that here soon. So if you're a user, an admin, or whoever, it's highly recommended to take a look at Active Workspace. Now, the old client, the client that's been around the longest, whether it's 2-tier or 4-tier, which we discuss more in our architecture overviews, the rich client is going to be this. And this is actually installed. It has an installation directory here and has to be pushed from your administrators to the machine. So this client is a little bit heavier with regards to maintenance. The administrators typically have to push and actually take a request and go touch the machine to do the installation. So it's just not ideal on the overhead. It also requires a little bit more of a beefier computer, whereas Active Workspace can run on a mobile device or it can run on a tablet. So you can pay a little bit less for the hardware that you're running depending on the use case of the needs of the user. Now, the rich client has been around for more than a decade, and this has been our primary way to interact. As administrators, the reasons that you would come in here is familiarity, as well as being able to access certain applications such as the PLM/XML import-export administration application, the report builder application, which is right here. Most of the other applications and features have been built into the Active Workspace environment. So it's really only a few that you would need access here. Everything else can be achieved in that client itself. So we have some classes on this rich client tool, but again, a lot of companies are moving away from this tool for the overhead and the ease of use of Active Workspace. All right, so those are the 3 applications that you're going to be dealing with on a day-to-day basis that allow you to interact with data or update deploys. Other applications that you may interact with could range from like the Business Modeler IDE tool, which you see a shortcut for down here, which allows you to manipulate the database, the data model element, and it's just another installed application like the rich client. So you run it, it allows you to build a template that which then you deploy using Deployment Center to the system. Other applications go on and on, but Teamcenter Journal Workbench would be another one that allows you to take your syslog data, your session data, and pump it out to a journal file, a performance journal file, and then investigate that to see if you can detect SOA calls, and see if you can detect long time spans between SOA calls in that output to see if you can improve performance or find bottlenecks. The sky's the limit, but there are a ton of different interfaces in the system, and it is consolidating down and getting more and more simple as each deployment version comes out. So we highly recommend that you take a look at the Teamcenter platform, technically speaking, as well as usability speaking, as this is going through some massive UI changes as well. Version over version, it's getting better, more attuned to the user, lots more feedback going in, and we highly recommend. Thank you for joining us in this little overview of some of the different clients that you would use with regards to the Teamcenter software, and we'll see you in the next one.